Hello, I'm FOOTNOTE, and this is something I decided to check out after I did my no mining, no crafting run of Minecraft, which I recommend you checking out before watching this, but just in case you don't, in that run, I came across a really tricky situation, in fact, one that was entirely impossible. I ended up in a box in the end where I could not get out because there was no way with the equipment I had on me at the time that I could get out of this box without mining and without crafting. And it made me wonder, like, how many ways were there I could get out? I thought about it for a really long time in the run, and although I didn't have the items with me at the time, I have thought about it since, and I've worked out a few ways that if you prepare for it, you can get out of this box or any box without mining and without crafting. And today I'm going to be talking about all of those various methods. So let's dive into it, shall we? So if you watched the main run, you'll know that one of the key ways for me to mine was to use creepers, which meant I had to drag them all the way to where I wanted to take them. If I knew I was going to spawn in a cage like that, or if I'd like properly considered it, then what I might have done is I might have brought some creepers with me to the end, which is entirely possible, by the way. All you gotta do is trick them up here, which apparently easier said than done. So maybe we should just make a little handy staircase so the creeper can walk in. Oh my god. Failing that, of course, you can just like get behind them and then snowball them or knock them in just like that. And now you can see there's a pretty much detonated creeper inside my end. We can do this time after time after time again to get lots of explosives in the end before we even get there. This probably wouldn't work for 6 blocks or above, but if you just had 1 or 2 blocks to get through, this is actually a surprisingly good solution to it. Oh, he just walked right in. Because now, when we go to the end, as long as we're ready for it... Oh, God! Well, that worked. Because now when we get to the end, you can see the creeper's going to do some damage to the end stone. Not much. It requires a lot of creepers for this to properly work. So you'd have to really fit it up and also somehow protect them from each other. It would be impractical, but technically speaking, you could. It's the easiest, but also least likely solution. So what's the second best solution? Okay, you're not going to use creepers because you don't know how deep it is. This might be 20 blocks to the nearest piece of civilization. Well, you need to find some feather falling boots. Again, really hard to get in a no mining, no crafting run, but not impossible, and also a bunch of ender pearls. Really hard to get, but not impossible. If you combine these things together, like we're gonna do, then what you have to do is you have to jump into the wall and ender pearl, then you get kind of trapped in there, if you do it just right. So just like this, you're going to see how I'm going to end up trapped in the wall. It's, again, super tricky, but here we are. And then you need to very quickly spam the pearls, and if you do it fast enough, you'll get to the surface, and you'll throw one off the edge, apparently. But just like that, you can see how without dying, we got above that entire thing, and now we're already getting attacked by the dragon, because you can get out of a locked room environment just by ender pearling into the world. So the way, just by ender pearling into the walls, because Minecraft ender pearls, they're a little bit buggy, especially when you're already suffocating in a block, and it allows you to go through giant expanses without ever touching any of the blocks. Kind of fun, in my opinion. Assuming you don't want to kill all those endermen though, because who does, the next solution is a really tricky one to properly orient, and maybe it would be practically impossible. However, you can technically get pistons, because you can get creepers to blow up jungle temples, and if you have pistons and you have buttons, which again, they're crafted from a single piece of wood without having to use the crafting tables, then what you could theoretically do, again, I really don't like the practice behind what we required here, is you could keep on moving end blocks out of the way, then you can move the piston out of the way, and you could just like endlessly do this to clear up spaces, and it's a super tricky thing to do because you don't know where the edge is. They can only push 12 blocks at a time, so you have to do a lot of moving around. It's going to be like a real nightmare. But you can theoretically do this. You can just keep on pushing pistons into pistons into pistons, and with enough pistons and with the right flow logic, again, I'm not the best at like the piston logic of getting X to go Y or Y to go Z, but you can actually get this done because again, you're seeing how we're already digging a little bit of a tunnel right here, and it's actually going quite well. But yeah, if we'd have done this upwards, we could have had at least a piston chain in there rather than all the end stone. Would that have been much handier? Again, I'm not too sure. The exact specifics of doing this are really hard. I misplaced that, so we'd be screwed. But you get the point. You could probably do with pistons, but I wasn't willing to, you know, go for all these jungle temples to get all these pistons. It is possible to get outside of a box without mining your way out, without crafting your way out, without using TNT, but the ways are limited, and given that end stone is a super tricky block to get through, basically, that's why we had to mine. That's why the challenge wasn't a success. If you want to do this challenge, just try and find a seed that doesn't have a caged-in box, because being caged in is no fun, in my opinion. Anyway, thank you for watching this small little footnote video. Just wanted to make it, so now that you know what's going on, and I guess I hope you all enjoyed it, because I'll see you all in the main video, which, again, I hope you watch, because it's better than this terrible little guide on how to get outside a box. So, goodbye everyone.